Hello everyone. First things first, why you need to use CMD? Why not to stick with GUI, graphical user interface? The thing is, the user interface changes so very much. Even in one Windows version, like Windows 10, changes can vary so much that it can influence your workflow. But with the command prompt, changes are not so common, and in general things stay the same in the long term. Basically, if you do learn one thing, more likely this thing will work for many years ahead. Like with the users, as it was in Windows 95, it's still the same in Windows 11 using command prompt. So one method works for all Windows versions. Isn't that nice? Second big reason is functionality. There is a lot more you can do with the command prompt instead of GUI. And also scripts are a thing, and you need to know how to use a command prompt. And remote controlling OS is also a thing. Though this is probably a topic for another video. Okay, let's see what we have to do in Windows environment. First you have to type CMD. When you type CMD and press enter, you will see as a regular user prompt, and this is a problem. If you will try to do some actions in this environment, there will be an access denied message. Let's see. And as you can see, there is a following message: system error 5 has occurred, access denied. So in order to for you to do these actions, you need to open command prompt either by right clicking and run as administrator, and as you can see there is C Windows System 32. Or there is an easier option for me: CMD, Ctrl Shift Enter, and it's basically the same action as I was showing previously. So now we can do some administrative stuff. But first things first, let's have a look at users in this computer. Let's type net user, and we can see we have 4 users in this computer. If you want a clear screen, you can type CLS. But the most common thing is most of the people who see these command prompts, they think, oh man, I have to remember all these commands. And it can be intimidating at first, but in general you don't have to remember anything. You just have to remember one command: help. Just type help and you will see a lot of commands in here. All these commands can be used, and if you don't know how to use these commands, you can see description in here. And in this video I will my main focus will be creating users, deleting them and adding them to groups. So let's clear screen again. I'll remind it's CLS. And next let's create our first user. Net user, then username, and then we can create a password 123. It's not very strong, but for demonstration purposes it will do. And then additional word add. So basically we can see now how these commands are created. So net user is a command, what we want to do. Then there is a username, then there is a password, and then there is an action what to do with this username and password. And we want for this specific machine to add the user password and action is add. So if you want to delete user, we can use a command delete. I can always press up on my keyboard and the previous command will show up. So let's delete portion of password, because we can't delete user created password and user at the same time. We can only delete a user, so that's why we need to delete a password section. And then create an action delete. So this is how we create new users and this is how we delete them. So let's have a look at it further. Let's create a user again, but with the capital letters and with the password as well. Let's clear the screen and let's have a look at the groups what we have in our computer. And as you can see, we have various amounts of groups, and there is regular users, there is administrators, guests. We are interested in making our own group, so let's do it now. Let's clear the screen again. Again, this is the command net local group, then there is a group name, and then there is an action. And at this moment we want to create and add a new group. Now what? Now we can add a user for this group, and basically the command stays the same, only we can add a username. And now you can see net local group and the group name and the username and action is add. If you want to delete user from a user group, specific user group, you can use an action delete. And if you want to delete a user group, you can do it as well. And for the last, if you want to change or add a password for a user, you can do it as well. Let's have a look. If you leave a blank space, there will be no more a password for a user. If you want to write a password, write it. Don't worry, you won't see anything. It will just type and remember what you just typed. So let's say you know a command, but you don't know what it does. And following thing you can do is by typing your command, for example, net user, and then question mark. And you can see all the actions it can do. Now let's try one of those. And what does this action do? It makes a user an active user. You can use it, and for example, let's type how many users we have. We have a user like administrative, Jan, and username. And as you can see, we have only 2 users active. In a recap, CMD is a really powerful tool. You can create, delete users, add or delete users from created groups, change or add passwords to created users, and if you forget some commands, you can just type help, or if you know a command but you don't know an action, you can add a question mark to your command and find out an action you can do.